Hi Year 2, welcome to your guided reading lesson for today. Today we'll be focusing on just one of the vipers, and that is the V viper. Can anyone remember what the V viper is? That's right, it's vocabulary. That means that we'll be explaining the meanings of words, using different words to explain that word. We might look for clues around the text, or we might just think, what does that word sound like? What does it mean? And be able to explain that. The story or book that we'll be reading is actually a non-fiction book. That means it's all true. It's real facts about the Great Fire of London. Where it all began. The Great Fire of London began on 2nd of September 1666. It started at Tom Farriner's bakery on Pudding Lane. The fire started when hot coal fell out of the oven. The fire spread quickly over the straw on the floor. Pudding Lane was soon in flames. And that's your first question. What does the word quickly mean? The fire spread quickly over the straw on the floor. What does the word quickly mean? London's burning. By the next day, the fire had spread from street to street. In 1666, buildings in London were built close together and made from wood. Wood burns quickly. There's that word again. So the fire soon spread across the city. Fighting the fire. Huge flames destroyed London Bridge and more than 300 homes burned down. Your second vocabulary question is the word destroyed. What does the word destroyed mean? Huge flames destroyed London Bridge and more than 300 homes burned down. What does the word destroyed mean? There were no fire engines. Men had to use buckets of water and water squirts to put out the fire. The King in charge. King Charles II took action after St. Paul's Cathedral burnt down. He ordered buildings to be pulled down to stop the fire spreading. Many people fled from the flames. And that is your third question, which is another vocabulary question. What does the word fled mean? Many people fled from the flames. What would you do if there was lots of fire around you? What does the word fled mean? The fire dies out. Eventually, the flames began to die down and the fire was finally under control. A man called Samuel Pepys wrote about the fire in his diary. It is still used today to find out about London in 1666. We'll be learning a little bit more about Samuel Pepys as well. What damage was done? The fire burned for 4 days. Fewer than 10 people died, but thousands of people were made homeless. And that is your fourth vocabulary question, the word fewer. Maybe you've heard that word in maths. What does the word fewer mean? Fewer than 10 people died, but thousands of people were made homeless. More than 13,000 houses burned down and many hospitals and churches. After the fire, the city had to be rebuilt. The architect, Sir Christopher Wren, designed a new city for London. And that is your last vocabulary question. What does the word rebuilt mean? What does that word sound like? So after the fire, the city had to be rebuilt. What does the word rebuilt mean? New rules were made about buildings. They had to be built from stone and set further apart. Later on, fire engines were also introduced. London today. In 1677, that's not today by the way, a tower called the Monument was built. It helps us to always remember the Great Fire of London. London is still being built and rebuilt today. It is one of the most famous cities in the world. And remember guys, that's where we live, okay? Good luck with your task for today. And remember, this book is going to be part of your reading comprehension. So I hope you listened well to all those interesting facts about the Great Fire of London. Have a great day, everyone.